high conflict custody case, the law is designed to shield your child. But if you're not careful and you're not documenting properly, your co-parent could exploit those same laws and use them as a sword. Without documentation, you're not just losing an argument. You're potentially handing them a weapon that they could use to cut you out of the picture. Today, I'm going to show you how to blunt that blade by using a simple documentation protocol that'll uphold in any room. All right, let's get into it, guys. You know, most dads think that they can be reasonable. Unfortunately, those days are gone. The days of talking it out at the curb and relying on good faith verbal agreements are out the window. All right. Using your memory or their memory to explain what happened in court, unacceptable. Just doesn't work. Without documentation, the story could always be twisted. First thing, and the most important really, is communication. Everything stays in writing. No phone calls, or as least as possible. No quick chats. You want to keep everything in writing. That's emails, text, or court-approved apps. App Close, my Family Wizard. They have a bunch of them, you know. And those are great because they actually can provide mechanisms inside the app to give you screen recordings of any video calls and chat logs and call logs, and they're automatically approved by the court, so it's easy to provide. Expanding on communication is the data that you can extrapolate from their responses. All right. I went over this in a previous video. You want to be very brief with your communications, ask pointed questions, reasonable questions that are regarding your child. And from that, they're either going to provide proper answers, which is great, but if they don't, and they're difficult in any way, or they're just not communicating whatsoever, then you can still document that and use that as lack of communication, lack of cooperation in reasonable co-parenting later on. So that's important to make sure you're documenting as well, the lack of communication. Further from that is maintaining your own event log. All right, this is basically a simple log that provides information regarding any incidents that came up with any interaction with you and your co-parent. Okay, you want to make sure you're logging all of that. And to expand on that, be prepared to gather police reports, incident reports, official records to cross-reference with your own log so that you keep everything time-stamped and organized, because you're creating a file of patterns. Okay, it's not just one incident that you're logging. You're looking for, because one incident really doesn't matter, right, in the grand scheme of things, but many incidents built up over time that accumulate do certainly matter. So you want to make sure that you're, from day one, recording each and logging each incident that happens. Okay, next is recordings. All right, this is a big one. Obviously, the first thing I'll say is you want to know your local laws. If you're in a one-party consent state, use it. If not, I wouldn't touch it. But I would also say, do your due diligence and use whatever resources that you can within your legal means. Also, you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. You know, if you're using an illegal recording That kind of makes you look like the villain and not the victim. All right? So the point is that you're not documenting to argue or create drama. You're documenting so that the facts can't be edited. And no one can have revisionist history as to the veracity of any incident or any event that may have taken place. If you want consistency and accountability, you stop talking, you start tracking. Okay? Stop letting the law be used as a sword against you and build the shield. That's dad doctrine.